it's time to talk about some important stuff. Hello friends, and welcome back. If you're new around here, my name is Jills and I talk about all things feminine energy, self-improvement, and wellness for women. So if that's something you want to learn more about, be sure to hit the red subscribe button below as well as the notification bell so you don't miss when I put out any new videos. A few months ago, I made a video called Things I Wish All Young Women Knew, and I got a lot of positive feedback, and some of you asked for a part 2, and there's definitely a lot more that I want to share. So here are 6 more things that I wish all young women knew. The first 4 are more related to your physical body, your hormones, all that kind of stuff, and in my opinion is really important. And the last 2 are more just kind of pieces of life advice. So let me just get right into it. So first thing, we are kind of just diving head first here. Let's talk about your vagina. It is an incredibly permeable area, meaning that anything that gets put in there can easily be absorbed into your body and into your bloodstream. And things like tampons, most of the brands out there, they're actually quite toxic and pesticide ridden. So tampons are made from cotton. However, 90% of the cotton that's grown is sprayed with herbicides like Roundup, which we all know is not good for us, not good for us at all. So essentially these tampons end up containing pesticides, and as women who have a period every single month, this is kind of a big deal. It's estimated that if you utilize tampons for every single period throughout your entire life, you use on average somewhere around 9,120 tampons. That's a lot. And I think that surprisingly not a lot of women are fully informed on this, and some of those big brands that you see like Tampax or Playtex, those are some of the biggest offenders. However, I will say that organic tampons are starting to become more and more popular, more and more available because consumers, women, are demanding it. So that's a good thing. They are a lot easier to find. I personally use Lola. It's not sponsored or anything. I just really like them. I've been using them for years and they ship to you every single month, so it's really convenient. But there are a lot of really great organic brands out there now. Just make sure when you're looking at the ingredients that it just says 100% organic cotton, and that's it. It's kind of crazy that this stuff isn't regulated better, but it's just important to be an informed consumer and an informed woman. With that said, this isn't just tampons. This could be other feminine products too that go in or around that area, as well as things like condoms or lube. Just when you're buying these things, make sure you look at the ingredients because a lot of them are not very great. This is a very sacred area and is a vessel for your entire body, so treat it well. Second thing that you need to know, and this might be totally obvious for some people and completely new information for others, and a lot of times women don't really understand this until sometime in their mid-20s or until they try to have a baby, but you cannot get pregnant every single day of the month. There is only a small part of your cycle in which that you can conceive. You can only technically get pregnant during that 24 to 48 hours when you ovulate. And I think it's been ingrained in our head that we can get pregnant at any time. You know, think back to health class back in the day. And I think this is just a tactic used to prevent unwanted pregnancies, but it's just not true. So women having a normal cycle where they ovulate, they can technically only get pregnant during that 24 to 48 hours when they are ovulating. But this is really important. Sperm can live in the body for up to 5 to 7 days. So technically, if you had sex 7 days before ovulation, there is a chance of pregnancy. But another super important thing to note here, not every woman ovulates on day 14 of their cycle. Some might, but a lot of women do not. A lot of women will ovulate either earlier than that or later than that. So it's really important to know when you ovulate. And remember that this can change from month to month. And that's why it's so important for you to really understand this and understand your fertility signs. So with that said, the best book recommendation I have for you is Taking Charge of Your Fertility. It is fabulous. It is the best resource for this, hands down. You can only get pregnant around the time in which you individually ovulate. So some people will kind of argue this point and say, well, you know, I had sex on my period and I got pregnant. And to that I would respond, that's more rare, but it can definitely happen. If you ovulate earlier than normal and if sperm lives in the body for 5 to 7 days, that's completely possible. You can only get pregnant when you are ovulating. You can only conceive when you are ovulating. Just keep in mind that sperm can live for a while. Now with that said, said, there is a lot more to this, and I do not recommend that you just take what you heard right now and then run with that and use that to prevent pregnancy. That's not a good idea. I don't recommend that. This is definitely something that you have to learn and understand, and I really recommend that you get that book and do some further research on this if this is something that you want to understand more, whether it's for preventing pregnancy or achieving pregnancy or just for learning more about your body. But surprisingly, not a lot of women know this. So now you know. Third, and something that women need to be more conscious of, is just how much our hormones are affected by all of those chemicals found in our cleaning products, our skincare, our makeup, our hair products, all of it. Again, this is something that is just not really regulated very much, and Europe does a lot better than the US, but still there are people who are using products every single day in and day out, that are just straight up harmful. Now, using a product just one time or a couple times a year, that's not really gonna do much of anything, right? But when you start using these products every single day, using them in your house and around your kids and all that kind of stuff, it really does make an impact, and not a good one. And think about how many more products women use every single day compared to men. A lot more, so much more, and it's wreaking havoc on our health and especially our hormones. So these synthetic chemicals like phthalates and BPA, they can be found in a lot of products and also can be very cleverly disguised too in things like fragrance. This can affect our monthly cycles. This can cause us to have those hormonal symptoms like acne and moodiness. This can greatly affect our fertility as well as just our overall energy and vitality for life. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you start slowly getting rid of the more conventional type of products and replacing them with less toxic and cleaner products. Now, I know this is a little bit overwhelming. I totally get that. So I highly recommend you check out the EWG's website. I'll link them below because they have some really good consumer guides for this kind of stuff and can really help guide you in the right direction for what kind of makeup and skincare is clean and which ones aren't. So that's a good start, but also I'll link some of my favorite products and resources for you just in case you need some more guidance, want some more help. I'll link some of my favorite cleaning products, makeup, like where I buy my makeup and all that kind of stuff below. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. Next, let's chat about PMS. A very common symptom of PMS is feeling extra emotional or moody or angry right before your period. And there's probably quite a few that are watching that struggle with this yourself. But I want you to take a second to maybe think about it differently and to realize that your emotions and your feelings during this time can actually be a huge guide for you. So let me explain, because this was a really big growing point for me. During this time in our cycle, this is actually when women are the most intuitive, and they are naturally very aware of what is and isn't working in their life. And the line between the conscious and the unconscious becomes much thinner. And if you're into spirituality, this is where the veil between the seen and the unseen becomes much thinner. And so we become very aware of what needs are being met and what needs are not being met. And with this awareness can come a lot of emotions and feelings. So it is perfectly normal to feel a bit more during this time, even if your hormones are perfectly balanced, because of everything I just mentioned, because we become more aware of what isn't working. We become more aware of the needs that aren't being met. And it's really important that we listen to this inner knowing. And a lot of people view this as a negative thing, but it's not, or at least it doesn't have to be if you really utilize this and embrace this. Now, obviously, if your hormones are just way off, then this can for sure cause emotional distress. But if you feel like your hormones are pretty well balanced, then I wouldn't ignore those emotions and feelings that come up during this time. And a lot of times they do tend to be pretty consistent. So maybe every single month before your period, you feel a certain way about your relationship. You identify some need that isn't being met. Or maybe every time before your period, you feel a certain way about your career or about your role in life. I really encourage you to acknowledge these emotions and feelings and work on addressing them. Listen to these feelings with what doesn't feel right and what needs to change. Your hormones are at a point where things that are no longer working, they start to become more obvious and more clear. Just like you wouldn't ignore physical symptoms in the body, you shouldn't ignore these signs either. The fifth thing that every woman needs to know and actually honor within themselves is that sisterhood is important. And I think we all know that it's important to have a good group of female friends, but maybe don't quite understand just how impactful this is in our life. As humans, we are meant to live in community. We're not meant meant to be alone. We're not meant to live alone. We're not meant to do life alone. That's just not how we're built, and that's not how we thrive. And even though we can be our own source of feminine energy, or we can get that through nature or whatnot, sometimes it just feels so good and so refreshing to be able to receive that energy from being around other women and having that support by being around other women who also value and embrace the feminine. Having that good support system of other females, people who you can talk to about anything, who you can laugh with, who you can get advice from and share what you're going through and your feelings. This is something that is crucial for every woman. And I think when we're missing a good group of girlfriends and we're in a romantic relationship, we start to rely on our romantic partner too much. We want them to be everything for us. We want them to be our romantic partner. We also want them to be our best friend. We want to get advice from them. We want everything. But that just doesn't really work in the long run. This kind of destroys the polarity. Yes, this might lead to an amazing friendship, but if you start treating your romantic partner like your best girlfriend, then the sexual chemistry, that attraction, that polarity, that will all start to fade. And this is not to say that your romantic partner can't also be one of your best friends, but having that close sisterhood, that close group of women that you can share with, talk about shared experiences with, and connect with, that's something that can't be replaced by anyone or anything. It's something special, and every woman needs one, just like every man needs a good group of guy friends. Making good female friends, especially as an adult, is not always easy, but it's always worth it. The last thing that I want a woman to realize is that your intuition is a very valuable life tool. And over time, when we've grown up, we've kind of learned to tune this voice out because oftentimes we can't make sense of it. And also we have grown up in a patriarchal society that heavily values the masculine and heavily values logic. And these decisions based on logic and analyzing things carefully, this is usually deemed the smart and mature way to do things. And sometimes this might be the smart thing to do, but you can't deny the power and strength of a woman's intuition. And I wish we were taught how to harness this better as a young girl, because I think that if we did, we'd see a lot more women fully stepping into their power as an adult. Your intuition is able to pick up on things that your logical mind can't. It can pick up on energy. And I like to think of your intuition as your higher self. And your intuition can help keep you safe. It can help lead you in the right direction. It can help make the right decision for you and your life. But the thing with intuition is that no one else can tell you what you're feeling deep down in your body. No one else can make these decisions for you. No one else can listen to your own intuition. That's only you. So you have to start trusting yourself and giving yourself the time and space to actually hear what it's saying. And if this is new to you, start slowly, but just start listening. And at first, you might not be able to tell the difference between your intuition and your fear and your anxiety and all of that kind of stuff. But over time, over a few years, this will start to become more and more clear. Everybody has this within them, but as women, this is our superpower. So comment down below if you learned anything new or if you wanted to share any insights to the topics I covered. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm so happy that you are here, and I hope that you join our growing community. Now be sure to check out these two videos as well if you haven't already, but besides that, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!